This episode of That Mental Ginger Show is sponsored by Roots and Rays Photography. In the entertainment business, having a good headshot is crucial to landing a gig. You don't have a good headshot, you ain't going to get work, which is why I highly recommend Roots and Rays Photography. Roots and Rays made me feel really at ease. We got some great headshots and somehow managed to turn this 35-year-old piece of dog meat into a work of art. For more information, visit www.rootsandraysphotography.co.uk or drop them an email at rootsandraysphotography, @gmail.com. Who knows, if you tell them Andrew sent you, they might do you a wee deal. And once again, thank you to Roots and Rays Photography, not just for doing my headshots, but for sponsoring this video. I really appreciate it. On today's episode of That Mental Ginger Show, we are talking to singer-songwriter, future stand-up comedian, and horror actor, Ryan Lunn. As you can guess from the three things that I've mentioned about him, we got to know Ryan quite well. And this is a very special episode because right at the end, I've got a very special surprise for my faithful followers. So let's cut to the intro so you can get to the end quicker and see that surprise. All right, troops. Ryan, a pleasure to have you on the show, my friend. How you been keeping?
I've been good. You know, it's been a rainy and gray day here, so it feels like I'm in Scotland today.
Which is actually weird because in Scotland today, it's actually been quite nice, which is obviously the ginger's natural enemy.
Yeah,
but
the sun. I'm the same way, buddy. I burn hard. I freckle. I got a couple hours and I'm like, I feel sick. I got to get out of this.
Yeah, I'm literally about 5 minutes max. And then I'm like, nope, I'm done. I'm out.
Yeah, I'm done.
It's like I always do what I call the white check with anybody that goes on holiday because my arm is basically a milk bottle. So if
the milky underarm, I get bugged all the time. When I was growing up, my buddies, my like sun worshiping buddies, I'd go out on their boat and they'd all go, come over here and stand by me because the sun reflects off you and I get more tanned.
For me, it was just like mine just drank it all up and then like just straight to burning, and then it would just all peel off again. And I was like, okay, this is just the way it's going to go with my life. And everybody else was just like, haha, you're white. I'm like, haha, you've got skin cancer.
Yeah. When you're like, this is one of these situations where it's not such a privilege for me to be this white. Okay, buddy.
Yeah. No, don't worry. I'm overly white. I'm close to albino.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll embrace the albino tribe whenever my hair goes.
Well, what's this rumor about down the road? They're saying that the ginger gene will be wiped out. You heard about that?
Yep,
what's this about?
It's going extinct. It's going extinct, my friend. The highest population of gingers in the world is 5%, and the majority of those are in Scotland. 18% of them, with Ireland a close second. But what we need is more red-headed women to have kids, because the NCR1 gene, which is known as the ginger gene, it carries on through the mother.
Yeah, my mom's redhead. That's why I'm ginger.
Yep. Well, and that's why my boys are blonde, because their mum isn't.
Wow. Have you ever heard the song "Redheaded Woman" by Bruce Springsteen?
I have indeed. Yes. Well, it was one of the ones that it definitely made. It made redheaded women popular. Redheaded guys, not so much.
I have a bit of, and I don't know if that's like a genetic thing because of, you always have this weird Oedipus thing because, your mother is maybe the first a model of a female that took care of you. I definitely have a thing for redheads, big time.
Yeah. Well, thankfully, my wife does too, so I was all right.
There you go.
Yeah. And enough about me and my madness, my friend. We are here to talk about you and your madness. Yes, your origin story. The one thing we all have in common, because we all have an origins.
I feel like a Marvel superhero. My origin story.
That's the point. Like, I am a massive superhero fan. Matter of fact, I have another podcast, Super Ginge, that just got monetized. So I'm like, woohoo! I can almost afford a Fredo.
it's really interesting if we look at it from like to come into the music world origin. It was a long thing because I came in late. I would have been 33, 34 before I stuck my toe actually in it. Maybe no further into it, 36 maybe. 37, 10 years about, because I'm 47 now. But it all starts when I'm about 18, because my grandfather was an uber naturally talented musician who played in all the big band dance halls back in the 40s and 50s and 60s in the border town where I grew up, which is called 40, which no one would know, but it's right on the coast, right on the waterline of Buffalo, New York, which is the United States, and where I lived was right on the border of the United States and Canada. So back in the 50s and 60s, ferries came across back in the day, and the Americans, Canadians mixed and mingled, and they did dances and music, and it was a big, great ruckus thing. As the 90s and 2000s roll in, that same thing's happening, but these are nightclubs down, and the Canadians and the Americans start fist fighting because the booze and everything. But back then it was a very peaceful thing in the 50s and 60s, and they just came over to dances and danced, and people danced to swing and jazz music, and that's what he was, a big musician. It was in his blood, and it kind of carried into me, thankfully. And he gave me my first guitar when I was 18, and I never put it down, you know, and I always secretly bedroom warriored it, and wrote and wrote and wrote and wrote. And I had this obsession, you know, I grew up ADHD, and I had mental illnesses that I had to struggle with throughout my life. And that does tie in very, very much to me, because the music's going on secretly, and I'm getting better and better at it. And I'm obsessed, and I'm always writing music, and I'm afraid to let anyone see this stuff, but I'm realizing that I can't help it. I have to write music. And I realized that I couldn't communicate things properly in my real life, but then when I go to write it, I was being able to communicate things properly through my songs. And I was like, oh, someday people will find my music, and they will see that there's this journal, this diary left behind with my true feelings. But I was too afraid for anyone to hear it ever. I didn't have the confidence. I didn't know how to sing. Because of ADHD, I didn't have the discipline or the ability to sit in and get disciplined through theory and lessons. And it makes it very difficult for people with ADHD, because they fall behind in school. They don't retain knowledge. They're so distracted, and they're so with school that their intelligence is up here, but they don't retain. So they start to lose their confidence. By the time they get out of school, they have all this intelligence, but they don't retain the information properly. So they tend to use their intelligence to manipulate or to cheat or to find other ways to get good grades, when all they had to do was pay attention and listen. But they couldn't, you know, so they end up becoming very clever and very good socially at learning how to achieve, but the details and the organization and the time management, the discipline, these things go out the window. But when you become an adult, these are the only things that matter. And that's when I hit a wall at 18, 19. I went off to university on my own, and nobody was holding my hand, and drugs and alcohol become part of my story. And that became the tug of war battle from about 22 till my mid 40s, about 25 years of on and off struggles with, you know, substance dependency disorder, making ADHD at times so severe that was problematic, until I finally, this last few years back, really went at it with a whole new vigor and a newfound energy. And of course, I had this partner I mentioned of mine, Jill, who stuck through it all with me, and just, you know, was like, you know, she said something to me that was really creepy and scary, but powerful. She said, you know, I don't know if you're gonna make it, if you're gonna get it, if you're really gonna make it through this. And because I would relapse, you know, while she was with me. And you're pretty familiar probably with addiction and things throughout your not you. I'm not saying anything about you, but I mean,
no, I was a binge drinker. But I would go like maybe months without, and then all of a sudden, then I'd just go like hardcore on it, and then be out of the game for 2
Like
3
how many?
days.
Like, would you go for days?
Well, I would basically cram 3 days worth into a night. Well, so basically everything and anything that I could touch, it was just
Yeah.
straight down.
Would you find you'd get in big trouble those nights and stuff?
Yes,
Oh
yeah.
yeah.
Well, especially
Yeah.
because like, with bipolar and that as well, like the kind of like,
Oh, see, so you're dealing with
what?
bipolar. That's
Yeah.
very interesting. So,
It used to be called manic depression, and that was when I was
yeah,
diagnosed. So I stick with that. It can makes me sound that bit extra mental, like I've achieved a badge of
sure.
honor. So
You
having all
know,
that combined with alcohol, yeah. So
right.
yeah,
Same with ADHD, untreated with all this crap in there. And when you make anything severe like bipolar, ADHD, autism, they all tend to like they're all spectrums, by the way.
yeah,
So they all tend to like encircle, like like the Olympics rings. You know how they kind of each other. They all seem to they have characteristics of each other, and they can all kind of touch and marry each other in a way like that you wouldn't tell. Like I could exhibit bipolar things, you might exhibit ADHD, and I definitely exhibit some autistic things. When I'm way really in severe ADHD things, I stim and I do different things that are like really autistic. So it's interesting because I have quite a plethora of things going on. But when you're in a good place, in a mental place, you can tend to really control those things. Like when I was younger, obviously my wherewithal to control it was much greater. I had a healthier lifestyle. I ate better. I was physically fit. I was playing sports, working out. And as I got older, and the abuse of the body and the mind and the spirit, when the spirit checked out and I disconnected from that, something else stepped in. Self-will, ego running the boat, driving the ship. It was terrible. So now that I've gotten, really gotten on the right path, my friend, and it took a lot of work, recovery. I don't shy away from talking about AA and recovery groups. I don't shy away from how important my church has played. I don't throw Bible and things at people, but my church is a great church, and I volunteer and help with the worship team, and through music I'm able to. But what I mean is finding that connection to your spirit, and a lot of times for me, the right church can help you get in touch with that spirit, that collective unconscious, whatever that is that we have, that's so good in us. Getting back in touch with that really makes everything get so much better in your life. And that's what drugs and alcohol and hate and sadness and anger and all that separates us from that, right? And I found that it took a lot of work. When you get, like they say, you walk 10 miles into the woods, it's 10 miles back out. Like when you want to get out of there, you can't just say okay and turn around and you're back out. Like you walked deep into that woods. I did a lot of damage. I caused a lot of wreckage. 25 years. So it's been a long haul these last few years, and it's a struggle when you have to collect and pick up and pay off mental and financial debts and spiritual debt. And that's what's been going on with me. And all the while, I had this music career that went a couple years back, and then I was in a dark spiritual state where I couldn't enjoy or appreciate any of it. Every good thing that happened to me, I was resentful and spiteful of something or someone for it. And what a terrible place to be. So I guess to get back to my original point, I've somehow spun things, and I'm in a really grateful place today where I really love and appreciate the people around me. And I'm starting to really kick away that self-hate and reconnect with my spirit and make amends in my life, or forgive myself a bit more. And as you know, you got to forgive yourself first before you can expect it from anyone else, right? Love yourself before you can even love anyone else. And that's the places where I am. Like, it's weird to be at 47 and developing these but I'm starting to understand that depression and trials and tribulations, they are directly connected to spiritual awakenings. They go like hand in hand. They are part of the exact same entity. Depression and spirit, without it, you don't get this.
Mhm.
Because if your life is great all the time, man, you just, what is there then? What's left?
Yeah.
Like, I think, some of us just are born to be not depressed, but you know what I mean? We're born to be in a place where we constantly need this to be brought to our spirit all the time, right? So now I lean into the depressions, or I lean into these things and realize it's okay. You're being taught something. You're being made stronger. You're being shown to grow, and and you'll come out the other side of it. Just stand back. Let the universe guide you, because when you drive, it's horrendous. Like,
when you drive, you realize you don't know how to drive.
We don't. We have no clue even how, when I swallow this spit I'm about to swallow, how did that whole mechanism work? And we don't know anything about what we're doing, yet the ego in this manifestation of our mind tells us we're in control of things. But when not to sound too like Eckhart Tolle or whoever, but you know what I mean? Like, we literally, if we can get our own way a lot, the energies that you're giving off, and if they're positive, will direct you and guide that same type of energies around you and to you. And so for me, I'm realizing, got to keep my energies up, because I was an angry dude for a few years, and that is not me. Did you ever find you fell into being like a very different person than you naturally were, maybe angrier or
anger is
like,
anger's a big word for me sometimes. That's hard to control. I think it's down to a lack of control, of myself and if I feel my surroundings, I'm not safe or comfortable, it's a lash out. But it's because I can't. I struggle to regulate my own emotions and my own control. That's something you fight with every single day, no matter what it is. I mean, it could be something as simple as like my kids, like one of them hitting each other, the other one, and it's just like all of a sudden, like, right, stop it. And then I'm like, why did I react like that? And it's like I have to like follow the advice I would give my kids. I go in to put myself on a timeout. I walk away, take some deep breaths, come back, and then I say sorry to them if they're overreacting, and talk it out and hug it out.
The anger iceberg analogy too, right? There's like, whatever it is, 56 other emotions under that water. It comes out as anger, but it's technically probably whatever it is, some other thing. And some of us, I think a majority of humans suffer trauma throughout their life. And there's a lot of us, those of us who don't properly deal with trauma, who stuff, bury and disassociate, or go into periods where they, will self-medicate, and may go through periods of anger where we lash out, or we react to situations in a trauma-based emotional way, where we're reacting to something that's from 10 years ago, but we react to things today like it's that. And people are like, what is with you? Like, you're reacting, you lost a chess game and you're, and it's because I'm reacting to the trauma from something 10 years ago still that's unresolved, and I find that when we get to, I don't know if you're my age yet, bud, you're what, 30s?
35.
You get in your 35, your 40s, you're in relationships, and you bring your baggages, you got kids, and you get into say you're like me, and you get into a relationship when you're 42. I mean, you're bringing whatever it is you're bringing, traumas and things like that. And you might both have work and things to deal with to get through at that age, that other people may have done to you, or you've done, and it's not the other person's job always to fix. Matter of fact, it's nobody's job to fix, I've realized. That fantasy that people have, I'm going to fix this and save them.
Yeah, definitely. Well,
nothing worse than
been down that road before.
It's
like, I remember when I met my wife, like, she was just turned 30, I was 25, What, and it seemed to be a bit like it was like trauma top trumps. Like we were like going through it, and I'm talking about like my kind of traumas that she had, and she was talking about hers as well. And when we both thought that when we finished talking about it, the other one would get, like, get out the car and walk. And it was like, no, if anything, it brought us closer together. Well, and that's the point. Like you shouldn't be defined by your trauma in your past. You just have to kind of bring it together, and then you can create your own joint trauma.
Your joint trauma, you're now. Because that's the reality is it doesn't, past and future don't exist, and technically we live in that. When you think about the past all the time, it's called living in depression. When you live thinking about what should I like the future all the time, it's called anxiety. So you're like, what's going to happen? How can I predict? How can I control my future? What am I going to do? What's coming? That's anxiety, right? When you're like, why didn't I do all this trying to fix, that's depression. And what you come to realize is neither of them exist. Happened already, gone, hasn't happened, doesn't exist. Insane thinking. All I do is think about something that doesn't exist all the time. When there's these things in front of me. And that's called obviously living in the now, and all these things specialize on just for today, living in the now, the power of now. Humans need to figure out that the only thing that exists for us is the moments, like right now. And clinging to your past is really difficult to realize how to drop that rock, but you have to drop the past. Like you have to drop it and just start and go, okay, I'm not going to do that stuff anymore.
Yeah.
That's it. And keep moving forward. You can't keep clinging to your past. That's what kills people. That's what kills us, man, is clinging to the past, and you stay sad and depressed. Or generally overthinking leads to sadness, because humans' biggest problem is our mind. We just think, and we don't do.
Yep. That's, eventually when you get to that stage where you're like, I've got to get out of my own head and I've got to actually take action. That's when things get done. What?
Every philosophist, every great person from Christ to down the line to Buddha, they all said the same thing. Get out of your head and go do something. Go serve the people. Just go, whatever it is you want to do. Just go help a person cross anything. Don't sit and think ever. Don't sit and think. It's the worst thing you could do is sit and think. You will become sad. You will become sad for sure if you think.
Yeah. It makes me so glad that I just don't think generally.
Today's right. What's something today is about? Today's about more or less me just doing more and getting back out there and doing a lot more for people. And I've gotten back to hosting a jam night and an open mic night down here in my area again, which is kind of cool. Helping people who just don't care about music for the money side of things. And I love getting away from that side and just being back into the people just love music, and the younger people who are like, oh, I just started writing songs, and like, come on out and try them, I promise. And you create a whole night that is just really supportive based around you and your energy, and it's your night. And I'm excited just to kind of create a whole new vibe, because I was getting pretty bitter. And now I have a new energy of gratitude that I want to express, and hopefully that's going to leak into my new music as well.
Yeah. So tell me about your new music. Where can my audience find it? So let's talk about gigs coming up, where you can find you on the socials. Sell it, my friend. Sell it to the universe.
Here's the coolest thing coming, everybody. So this summer in about a month, on August the 10th, the Canada Summer Games is happening here, and it'll be right here in our backyard for the first time in I don't even know how long. We have a university right here called Brock University. So right here in the Niagara region, the Canada Summer Games is here, and I have a spot on the big stage. And I'm playing a big gig here on August the 10th. That's super, super awesome. I got an awesome band, the Rick Rose Band backing me, fellows that played in Nashville and beyond. Also, I've started doing some stand-up comedy around here.
Hey,
That's like a bucket thing, right? I was just like,
yeah.
I want to go do some stand-up. So I've been obsessed with writing jokes all the time and like going up, and
I
I'm
feel
like,
you, my friend. I feel you.
yeah, like in music, I can kind of do whatever. I can call almost any venue and they'll go, "Oh yeah, I've heard of you," or almost any guy I can get. But comedy, I'm like the bottom of the rung again, and so it's like starting at the bottom again. It's kind of exciting, and I get so scared when I go up on stage. It's like the whole thing all over again. And I'm going to be doing like a theater production in September and stuff. Yeah, Western in theater. We're going to be, I got a lot of gigs coming up, and just going to keep. Oh, so for new music, I got a new song coming out called Movies, which I wrote with a guy named Dave Rave from a band. I don't know if you guys might have heard of him over there in Scotland, because he's touring in Europe all the time, called Teenage Head. They're a big Canadian punk band.
Yeah.
So I got a song coming out. I put it on the shelf. I recorded it over the quarantine, and that's going to drop. It's a totally fun, like summer rock song about just the excessiveness of human nature. It's called Living Life in the Movies. Nice. And then I got another one coming out, Fall Through the Cracks, which is kind of a song I'm going to be donating to a homeless nonprofit company. And it's about, the homeless, and Jill has taken on some I don't know what she'll be taking on a position with the healthcare here and helping be a strong voice for the Indigenous people in the Niagara healthcare here. And recently there was a really tragic thing that happened to her niece as an Indigenous girl that went into the healthcare here and kind of got neglected. She died in their waiting room, and was really treated. She was neglected and overlooked, and she had sepsis in her. She was very sick, and they thought that she wasn't as sick as she was, and she died right in the hospital. And it was in the paper. It's been really publicized, and this song that I'm doing is going to kind of go towards that campaign as we keep remembering her and memorializing that. And so I got a lot of projects to finish, and I stepped back a little. Yeah, and like I said, that bitterness I was feeling, I stepped back from music projects and kind of fell back into some of my old ways. And now that I've gotten myself much healthier and in a much sounder place, I'm stepping back, and I'm gonna, tie those loose ends up and get all that new music back out. And who knows? Putting a band together. Got a movie coming out that I filmed over last summer. Was called what's it called? It's called the Damnation of Dracula.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh, so, awesome.
Yeah. It's Dracula's a female character, and it's shot on an Indigenous. So sort of the Dracula represents the white man, the colonization coming and sort of feeding off the people, and so Dracula comes there and just starts killing the people off. And I play the late night radio conspiracy DJ guy who so it's a really cool role, because I get to kill some vampires and get killed. So it's
nice.
Checks all the boxes. And
so who's the studio that you've got it with? Like the studio that's produced it?
Yeah, this what are the guys called? Skeleton Crew Productions and Blue Harp Productions, which is Chris Darton and his team. It's and we're gonna do more. They do horror, like B movie horror. Like, these are guys that are like grew up on The Evil Dead and like that stuff. The Swamp and like Evil Dead's. So when
the movie comes out, man,
I will share it.
Yeah, share it. Let the guys know if they want to come on the podcast or a wee bit of promotion. Over in our neck of the woods. Cool. Definitely, man. We've got like a good kind of horror indie scene over here as well. I know a couple of guys what they do like that October 15
Oh, you never know.
productions as well. So
we could just have a geek fest talking about like horror and like, you know, all the cult stuff. And
you are definitely coming on Super Challenge, my friend, so we can talk about all this. I think that'd be a good plan.
Yeah, because
so we are starting to come up on time.
And the
yeah.
Okay, buddy. Yeah.
No, so, it's just so I can ask.
Question.
Yes, if you could give one piece of advice to anybody struggling with mental health issues at this point in time, what would that piece of advice be, and why?
Don't hide it, and also lean into the depression. Let it happen, because like I said, it's there, and it's the reason you're having that depression is so that you can have a spiritual awakening. You are having that. God brought you to that because he wants to bring you through it. And I like to bring up the story, the archetypal story that a lot of people are so familiar with is obviously the Bible is one of the first things that came out on print. So a lot of people know, if anything, whether they want to, I don't care how they feel about the Bible, but this is the first collection of stories ever put together. First library of stories collected from scrolls and kind of put together and said, look, at these things, take this and try to guide yourself as best you can, humans, with these things we've put together. And the story of Christ, the passion of how terribly this man was taken and beaten and crucified and betrayed, right? And by his best friend. The whole story is terrible, right? Best friend betrays you, beaten, killed. Then the king's like, I don't want to do it. I have this other dude here who murders and rapes. How about we kill him? No. Then you're like, please, I can't take this. The whole story just makes your skin crawl, right?
Yeah.
But guess what? At the end of the story, in 3 days, he's resurrected. And my point to it is bear your cross, carry your cross, because when you die to yourself, there's a resurrection on the other side of it. And that's what these stories are telling you. These humans knew back then, whether you want to believe these stories to be true or not, when a human pushes himself past the place they think their limit is, there's a place beyond that where the things we need to survive are found. That's what you need to know about yourself. When you are depressed or when you are pushed to your limit, remember the resurrection. Bear that cross. Remember, there's something on the other side of it that you need. So that's what I would say. That's where the answer is, right?
Yeah. Very good advice, man. Definitely. Well, someone like what carries the faith as well. It's something that that helps you. You don't even realize sometimes that it is helping you until you step back and go, thanks.
Yeah. Man. And you don't even, that's what the point of I see from faith can be. Just, you know what I learned? I don't care if you have faith or not, but what I've learned and watched from people who do have faith, they're happier, they're more successful, and they live better lives because there's something to having faith. Something about having faith, you know what I mean? And being connected to that greater good. Like, we can't stop the darkness, but we can shine light on it. And that's the only thing that a true, believer feels. It's like evil is going to keep happening, or bad things are going to happen to you, and bad things are going to happen to everyone around us. But what can we do? We can still shine light into it and try to, bring good to everything. So that's what having faith's about, right?
Yeah,
it's definitely not debating what's true and what isn't. I'm past all that crap. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just what break it down to the basics. Let be a good person, and let's spread some good.
Yeah, exactly.
You just break it down
Don't
to the basics.
Don't get caught up in rhetoric and what is true and what isn't, because that's not the importance, right?
Amen.
I love it. Yeah, I love it. So my pastor says, is it really that important? Those little things, whether you want to fight about all these little things in the Bible, not important. Look at the main stuff and what it does for you and the lessons in there and what it's trying to do to form you. And that's what I love. So anyway, that's my advice would be that, know that when you feel these things and you're hurt, it's because God's pushing you to a place where you're going to achieve and learn something huge.
Yep, definitely. And it's good advice, my friend. Well, Ryan, I really, really appreciate you coming on, man. You've been such a pleasure to talk to and get to know.
Yeah, man, you too. I'm looking forward to the movie thing.
Yeah, definitely. We will get that sorted. And for my audience, we actually have a very special treat for you. This is the first time we are actually going to have a guest play us out in song. So until next time, my faithful followers, I've been Andrew Durnan. This has been the brilliant Ryan Lunn, who's going to bless us with his music. Check him out on all the socials. They will be in with the link in the description below. Give him the love, because that's what we're all about, is helping people. Yeah. And until next time,
God bless Scotland.
Take care. Stay safe. Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this is Ryan Lunn with his fabulous song, Long Term.
Thank you.
Take away.
Baby, we're long term. We're Frankenstein's monster. We're pieces of broken parts sewn together to make some art. Baby, we're long term. Just like those stubborn birds who build nests on our porch every year. You ain't getting rid of me. And oh, oh, oh. 'Cause baby, we're long term. Through the long halls and the wrong turns, we're still on this road together. Can't scrape me off your windshield. Baby, we're long term. 1,000 cuts and tiny burns. You watch me die 1,000 deaths, but you still ain't left me yet. And oh, 'cause everybody always leaves. So I've been testing you, it seems, to see if you'll leave me too. With words and camouflage, self-sabotage, but she just looks me dead in the face. She said, this is what it looks like when someone stays. Baby, we're long term, just like these graying sideburns. Yeah, apparently you ain't getting rid of me. Baby, we're long term. It seems like we never learn, but hell ain't that part of the fun. Baby, ain't that part of the fun? Oh, everyone always leaves. So I've been testing you, it seems, to see if you'll leave me too. With words and camouflage, with self-sabotage, you just look me dead in the face. She said, this is what it looks like when someone stays, when someone stays, when someone stays. Oh yeah. Cause baby, we're long term. We're Frankenstein's monster. We're pieces of broken parts sewn together to make some art.